Hello.
Hey,
This is Lucia.
this is Bree.
And this is Delulu Hour.
Welcome.
Welcome, everybody. We have a huge update. Bree
Pretty
got
massive.
engaged.
I did.
So exciting.
Yeah.
I want to
pretty
hear
crazy.
it. Well, I've already heard the whole story, but I do want to hear it again for the listener, too.
Yes. Well, I'll try to keep it more short and sweet, but it was really cute. He didn't tell any of the friends, which I really thought he would. I thought for sure he'd need all the help he could get, just being a boy, and I feel like he didn't plan that much. Usually, it's a day of, and he's like, let's go do something.
Mm-hmm.
So went to a couple different countries, but then his family met up with us. My family was there. We met up with them. Then we all go and end up, long story short, in Santorini, Greece. And
So
he's
pretty.
it was amazing. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
The water, how clear it is insane. So it was just a really wholesome experience. We'd already spent a week with all the parents and our family friends. And he was there's a lot of little things building up to it that was kind of funny, but the long story short of it is that we're sitting there and he keeps talking about this church, isn't that church so pretty? Isn't this church so pretty? And I'm like, yeah. But okay, they're all pretty blue domes, we get it, you know? And then our parents and his parents and everyone met up with us, and we went and got coffee, and then they were my mom was I really want to take photos in front of this church. I'm so weird. Stefan wanted to take photos in front of this church too. What's the deal with this church? I'm thinking in my mind, why did I miss something? Is this a really important aspect of Santorini? I didn't.
And you had no inkling.
No, I'll tell the story of why after. But yeah, so we go over there, and my mom's being super rude. She's do you want to brush your hair? I'm like, what? And oh, mind you, everyone's dressed to the nines. Stefan's mom is literally in heels on the cobblestone streets of Greece, and I'm in tennis shoes. I'm oh my god, I'm so underdressed. And so I was kind of embarrassed. And then we're walking up, and there's this girl doing this flying dress thing. My mom's oh, let me see your hair tie. And I'm what? You just brushed your hair? And I had told her no, I don't want to brush my hair. It looks like shit or something like that. And she was okay. And then I turned to her. I'm I really have to pee. She's oh fuck, because she knows it's about to happen. And I'm looking, I'm someone go take a photo, and this guy's a professional photographer who I thought was with the flying dress girl was all of a sudden trying to take photos of us, and I was oh, that's nice. He's probably gonna try to charge us for this, how people do that. I don't know. I was just making things up for why things made sense. And no one would go, and literally everyone's against the wall just staring at us and I'm what the, okay, everyone's acting fucking weird today.
Yeah.
And one of our family friends didn't know, so he was yeah, let's do it. And then his wife was ow, stop. And then I was what? And it's okay, fine, me and Stefan will go. And someone's come on. So he pulls me to the spot, and literally I saw him start to pull it out and I literally just everything went slow motion. I was holy shit, it's happening. And I was no fucking way, this is happening right now. I was I told all my friends this was gonna happen. And then I look at my parents, and they're all and I'm oh, that's why they were so weird and looked that so nice. And then I looked at the photographer, and he's taking photos of us. I'm oh, he's with us. And then I'm he's just sitting,
piecing everything together,
literally still on a knee. Oh, and he said something so cute, do you want to be your name, his last name for the rest of your life, which was so cute. But I think I had pictured that someone would say something for a long time, so I'd have time to process it. No, just quick, really sweet sentence question. And I was doing all the processing, and then I look at him, and he's still and I'm yes, of course. And then yeah, it was really cute. We did he had this guy for 30 minutes after the proposal, and we did professional photos, and that was really sweet and cute. And he
have you gotten them back yet?
Yeah, they're really cute.
Okay, good. Yeah. I was wondering if you were upset with how you looked or
no,
anything.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to redo them because I had to pee, so I just feel you could kind of tell that I was a little bloated. And
yeah.
I was in a tighter dress, but no heels, and I don't know. I kind of want to do a new set at the beach or something.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
But that leads into my Delulu moment of the week.
Yes.
Which I'll just say was from the week, but it was from the trip. No, it was before the trip. So right before. This is why I had no idea. Everyone, my hairdresser was literally telling me it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Everyone. And I was telling everyone else, convincing everyone else that it wasn't going to happen. We had just bought a house together. I'm thinking, no way. And then maybe a couple weeks before, he was oh, let's go to this pizza place on Saturday with our friends. And I'm like, okay, like, that's random. Like, he doesn't plan things in advance. So I'm like, why are we waiting 4 days to go to this place and just go tonight? Like, I don't know. It's a Thursday night. Let's do it. Whatever night it was. And yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of weird. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then he leaves for volleyball in the morning. And I like don't hear from him for like a long time. And now it's past the time to go. And like, I was kind of waiting for his text to say he was on his way from downtown so that I would start getting ready. But so then I'm like late at this point, like and he's not calling me, freaking out because I'm late. He's not saying anything. I'm like, weird. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just track him because if he's still not done playing volleyball, like I don't want to get ready yet.
Yeah.
So I look at his location. He's at my parents' house. And I was like, what the heck? And I was like, is he gonna propose? I was like, how weird that you would go to my parents' house and not say it. And like that was out of the way from the pizza place. So that was weird.
Yeah.
And then I was in like a t-shirt and I'm like driving on the way to this pizza place. I'm like, is he gonna propose right now? Like, I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. I'm like, I literally sweat through my t-shirt because I'm like, is he gonna propose to me in a t-shirt in a pizza shop? And I'm like, no way. Maybe he'll tell me to go to the beach because it's by the beach. I'm like, perfect. He knows what I want. Because I was thinking like that ideal would be cool. Like by the beach is fine. Yeah. So I make one of those. I made one of those TikToks where you like think you're gonna get proposed to, and then like it's like the reaction afterwards. Yeah. So then I didn't get proposed to, and I was so embarrassed. I was pretty fucking embarrassed.
Oh my God, I would be too.
Yeah. And so like when I got there, nothing happened, obviously. And then I'm like fucking putting my sweater over my pit stains. I literally sweat through my t-shirt. And I just asked him point blank because I was like, what the hell? And I was like, why were you at my parents' house? And he was like, oh, your grandma's bike, your dad's trying to give you, like he was trying to see if it'd fit in my car. I was, what?
Did he have that excuse ready?
Okay, so find out later, like long story short, I'm not insane. I did delete the TikTok because I felt fucking crazy. And I thought maybe it wouldn't happen for 2 years and I couldn't live like my life like that for 2 years. God. So I deleted it. So embarrassed. And come to find out that was when the ring came in.
Yeah.
So he went to go get it, check it out, like come up with a plan for who was going to have it throughout Europe until it happened because it wasn't happening to like the third country. Yeah. So that was that. Well, okay, so my mom was like, she's gonna be like, where are you? You're late. Like, you have to go. You need to have an excuse because she'll probably know where you are because she knows that I'm insane. Yeah, so my mom was really the one who came up with the lie. Nice. I'm like, which is good because if you can lie that good, we have a potential problem on our hands.
It is so funny because when you were talking about the upcoming trip and going to Europe and that his family was going to be there and your family was going to be there, yeah, of course, that was my first thought. I was like, oh, he's going to propose. And so, yeah, asking you about it. And you were just like so sure.
You were like
so sure that it wasn't going to happen. Yeah, like, no, exactly. Like we just bought a house, like yada yada. We're going to take our time
everyone,
with
including
it.
myself.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess what Bree says goes. But literally, I feel like while you were there, I was like on high alert. I was like waiting for the incoming text and like checking Instagram every single day.
That's so funny.
I'm like, I know it's gonna happen, like deep down, I just know. But yeah, again, like with him not telling any of us, it was just very sneaky and very good.
I think he knew that. Because he knew in January and this was not until like April, so he didn't want to like tell people, and then like he didn't risk any reason that I'd find out on accident. And even like Sid found out through Colton on accident,
right?
Because Colton knew through Stefan, and then he spilled the beans, so then Mila knew and Sid knew. And so when I was telling Sid about how embarrassed I was and then I deleted the video, she was like, oh my gosh, like had to play it off. And okay, to be fair, if that was
good
me,
for her.
It would be so hard for me to be like keeping that in.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
While I'm literally telling you how insane I thought I was, and like, you know, I'm not insane.
I'm
and, like,
just impressed that she didn't even tell any of us either. Yeah. Like, you know.
I think she wasn't supposed to know. Yeah. So she was like, literally am not supposed to know, so I shouldn't tell anyone, which also like Colton spilled the beans. Like,
yeah.
You know, that's funny. But yeah, so that was my little Delulu moment, was just like thinking that like one, he was gonna propose, but then he actually didn't, but then I like gaslit myself into like not thinking ever to think that way again.
Yeah.
And then everything in the trip, like he was like really confused about or concerned about what I'm wearing throughout the trip, like leading up to this, like what I packed for Santorini from the other island.
Yeah.
And like in the morning I was like, I don't know if I should wash my hair because it looked really not great, and I just wanted to like braid it, and he's like, will it be wet? will it be wet? And then I was in like delusionally, I'm like, he must know that my hair is half curly, so if I wash it and it dries in the wind because it's windy here, it will look like shit. He doesn't know. But I just told myself he did. I don't know. Yeah, so that was me.
That's so cute that it was like a real good surprise.
Yeah,
though. I understand it being like a little bit shocking in the moment of having to process everything at once, but
it was kind of scary. I was like, oh my god, what's happening?
When you just thought about getting engaged, did you want it to like be a surprise or like did you want to?
No.
Okay.
I think I'm like not. Well, I don't know if most girls want a surprise. I feel like they do.
Yeah,
I feel like
it's
most
hard
don't want to know
when it comes with engagements because it's like part of you. I feel like part of you does want to know.
Yeah.
You know.
I just want to know because so this is what sucks is like I canceled my hair appointment. I canceled my nail appointment because I was stressed out and didn't want to spend the money right before. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how dumb, like, of me to do that. That's how convinced I was it wasn't going to happen.
Right.
But I don't know. I think I wanted to know because my main thing was when he did it, and this is what I was so fearful of, and then it was fine. So like, you know, be surprised because I think it's a beautiful moment and it's cool that you'll never be surprised like that again, I feel like. So it was just nice to be like, but I was in shock. Like when it happened, everything slowed down and then I was just like, whoa, like what is going on for a while? And that's what I was afraid of was like my response wouldn't be right. Like what everyone's expecting my response to be is that I might look like, oh, I don't want to, or I took too long to respond, or like whatever the expectation you're supposed to do when you get engaged. Yeah. I was terrified that if I was surprised, I wouldn't have the right reaction. Right. Because I don't get surprised. Like, I am in control of everything in my life. Yeah.
You know? That's exactly how I feel when I'm in situations where I'm expected to cry. Like, I don't know, saying goodbye to somebody and, like, you are expected to cry. And I'm a crier and I can't cry in those moments where I'm expected to. So I totally understand. Like,
yeah, it's like a social anxiety or something. Yeah. But all was well, all is good. So
I'm
it was
so
really
happy for
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
that was exciting.
So exciting. Okay, cool.
Well, you have to share your delusional moment of the week now.
Yes. Okay, so also, are we pretending like you don't know, or are we pretending like you know?
About what?
About the whole like just neighbor situation.
Oh, well, I mean, I feel like I'll learn new things and. So just like I'll just whatever. Okay. I think I'll just act natural, but and I'll probably think it's funny again. So okay.
Yeah. Well, just to give a little recap. Obviously I've been on my dating journey. I'm just on the complete opposite spectrum as you, which is so wild. But basically, you guys have heard I've been out there and starting to date, and it's been feeling a lot better. Like I'm finally taking those steps and moving forward and having fun with it, which is what being single is all about. So a few weeks ago, I randomly have seen this guy that lives like a block down the street from me like a few times, and this most recent time that I had seen him, I saw him like walking and getting into his car like out from his house. He's literally 1 block away from us. So I'm like driving and I see him walking into his car, and I damn near like pulled over right then and there because I was like, this is the hottest guy I've ever seen.
No way.
Yeah. Oh no. And so I just notice him, and then I go home. I'm chatting with my roommates. I was like, you guys, that guy down the street is so hot. And my roommate Sarah was like, don't even bother. I've seen him with a girl. I think he has a girlfriend. So I was like, okay.
You're like, shoot.
I don't know, just me being me. I'm like, I'm going to leave my number on his car. Like, I just like immediately had that thought and just ran with it. And they were so like, bold. Okay. And I was like, okay, yep, I'm going to do this. So literally the next morning I was going somewhere and I drove by his car, and I was like, I got to do this right now or I'm never going to do it. So I found like a random piece of my resume in my car. Like I've, been on the job hunt. I have my resume handy. So I tore off a piece of my resume and I just wrote something like, hey, I live down the street from you. I'm your neighbor. I noticed you and thought you were cute. Thought I'd leave my number. And then I also left my Instagram because I'm like, he's gotta have some context. Yeah. He needs to know what he's working on.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, see, I'm hot, so you're gonna respond, right? Exactly. Did he hit you up over Instagram then?
No, it was because I left my phone number too. But he did. It was funny because I that exchange happened like early in the morning. Like I was headed to Pilates, and then maybe like an hour later, he must have seen the note, and I noticed that he followed me on Instagram. So I was like, oh shit, you guys, he followed me on Instagram. And then
It's working.
And then maybe like 10 to 15 minutes later, he texted me and he was like, hey, yeah, I'm down to grab a drink with you.
Oh my God. Wait, can we just like take a moment for the fact that this is like so bold?
I know. It's so funny because I have been telling so many people this story, and that is the number one reaction I get. Like, oh my God, like that's so bold. I would never do something like that. And I really feel like I have my mom to credit to this because, I don't know, growing up, I feel like she was always encouraging of me to like hit on guys that I wanted to pursue. And like I would go out to restaurants with my mom and she'd be like, you should leave your number for this waiter, like things like that. So I was never like afraid to do anything like that. And I feel like,
no, I think that should be an empowering thing for people more often. Like, you should go like put yourself out there like guys do. Like,
exactly.
Why can't we?
Exactly. So like I'm being silly and delusional and putting myself out there, and I think guys really like it when the girl like
for sure
hits on them first or asks them out first. So yeah, that's kind of a mentality I've always had, and I'm like, somebody's got to do it. Like, I don't know, and life's too short. Like, just like if you see somebody you like, or I don't know, somebody in your neighborhood,
throw a note on their car,
go hit on them.
I do like that he texted you and not just like DM'd you on Instagram.
Yeah, 100%. So that happened on like Monday of that week, and then simultaneously in the background, my roommates and I have also noticed this house on the other side of our street. So this neighbor guy that I left the note on, he lives to the left of us on the block, and then the neighbors that we've noticed that are cute live to the right of us, literally also 1 block away. So we've noticed them for as long as we've lived there, but never have like done anything about it. We're just like, oh, looks like a group of guys live there. We haven't really seen any of them too closely or anything like that, but we're like, we noticed that they always have their garage door open and that it looks like they have a pool table in there. So,
what a vibe.
Say less to me. You know how I feel about a pool table. So, okay, so timeline-wise, so that happens on Monday. Later that week, it's like Friday night, and my roommates and I are like, let's go out, whatever. We haven't been out in a while, want to go grab some drinks. Ends up being like a full night of drinking, and we get back to our place around like 1-ish in the morning, and we were just like, should we go like knock on our neighbor's door?
We need to play some pool right now.
Yeah. Like, maybe we should go introduce ourselves now while we have the liquid courage to. And I think we kind of went back and forth about it, and then we were like, well, let's just go walk a little bit closer and we'll see if their lights are on. And if they are, like, we'll go introduce ourselves. Obviously, they're up partying too. And we walk a little bit closer and we notice all the lights are off. So we're kind of just like, oh, shoot. But then my roommate Sarah was like, wait, I hear music. I hear music coming from my house. So we get a little bit closer. They're blasting music. So we're like, all right, they're up. They're partying. Nice. So we go and we like knock on the door. One of them answers the door and he's like, hello? He was so confused.
Help you?
It's 1 a.m. on a Friday night.
Just a group of girls standing on their porch.
We're like, hi, we're your neighbors. Just wanted to drop in and say hi. And he's like, oh, okay. And we're like, sorry, like, are you guys up? And he's like, well, I was planning on going to bed, but yeah, like the other guys are up, like, come on in. So we go in, we end up having this like just funny and fun night, like playing pool with them and getting to know them. And we kind of joked that we always take these hot girl walks around the neighborhood and we always walk by their house, and that's how we kind of noticed them and yada yada. So they were laughing, we were laughing, and that was kind of that. And then the next day they had asked us to like come to the Ava to like go to the pool. I guess they have a friend there. So we like went and hung out at the pool with them, and one of them is sort of like vibing with me, and he was like, so what are you doing later? And I was like, well, I have a date. My date.
Shoot, I'm busy.
My date was with my other neighbor boy. But I didn't tell him that part. So I was like, you know what, I have a date. And he was like, oh, damn. Like, I was hoping that, like, we could go out and yada, yada. And I was just like, you know, sorry. Like, I got to follow through on my commitments. I end up going out on the date with the other neighbor that I asked out. And we had a really, really great time. Like, totally, like, vibed and connected. I was really nervous at first because I didn't know anything about this man, or I was like,
just left a note on his car.
Yeah, I was just like, maybe I should have thought this through a little bit more. I don't even know how old he is.
What if he's a serial killer?
Yeah. And, like, we live in Point Loma, and there's a lot of college kids around, so I got nervous. I was like, oh, God, what if he's a college kid? But no, he ended up being same age as me and whatever, connected. We've been seeing each other. It's been great, yada, yada. And then we kind of just, like, kicked the other guys to the curb, and we're just like, maybe we'll hang out with them sometimes. But we kind of just came in and, like, threw a grenade and then walked out. So that was my funny little Delulu silly moment. Sorry.
That's okay. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Just going on the theme of my dating and being silly with it, because I feel like exactly, like I'm young, I'm single, like this is the only time I'm gonna like have fun, and like I'm not getting any younger.
No, I can't do that now.
Yeah,
that sounds super fun. Yeah, like I feel like that kind of leads into my like more serious Delulu moment of like when I did get engaged. I think it was like almost like I was so happy and excited, and it had been something we'd talked about, so like obviously I said yes and I'm so excited, but when it actually happened I was like, oh my God, am I old? Yeah. And like what is happening? I just think I was like having like a full come to Jesus of I'm 27 moment maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And then like obviously I'm living through you with your fun experiences, but also I feel like I'm just like being delusional and telling myself like I'm like whenever when I'm not that old, like chill out, you know what I mean? But also like just because I'm engaged doesn't mean I'm fucking dead. Like I can still like, you know, I still have my girl nights and have fun with everybody, and like just because I'm engaged doesn't mean I'm like literally like have like 5 kids and can't leave the home. Like I don't know what that was about, but I think I just like panicked and was like, oh my God, you know, am I like I'm getting old so fast or something? I don't know.
It's totally like, understandable. Yeah. And I it's weird because I feel like I almost had like secondhand like processing for you. Like I was just thinking, I was like, I wonder how Bree's doing. Like I got, this is a lot, and I feel like it's a lot of attention on you, and like you said, like expected to like react a certain way, and I'm like, I know that Bree is in shock right now, and I'm like, I like fully want.
Everyone's like, and you're just like, I don't know what's happening, but like I'm happy, but I'm like processing. Like,
So I kind of wanted to just like, be like, are you good?
No, literally. Like I'm great, but also I just it made me feel really old, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck that. Like I'm still young, I'm still fun, I'm just engaged. Like fuck yeah, I found a guy that I love, and like that doesn't make me old, and that doesn't make me boring.
Exactly. And so, I think you are 100% like one of those people that's so good about like separating your life with your partner versus like your own life. Like I feel like you have always been so what's the word, like independent, you know, like, and I feel like you'll never lose that.
That means a lot, because I do feel like that's important to me, like having independence in your relationship, and like, I'm someone who will feel suffocated if I don't have that. So like when I found this person who makes me feel comfortable and that I can do that, and there's no like weirdness around it, it's like encouraged. I was like, this is it for me. Like hell yeah, I can you know, do whatever, go out with my girlfriends, and it's not like a weird situation. It's not like they have to be with me all the time. So I think that helps too, for it to be like, when I was telling him, I was like, does this mean we're old? Like I literally tell him, because I'm so like, we have such open communication, so I was like, it was a little bit scary. And like, who wants to hear that when they, you know, propose to someone? But I think he was just like, no, like it doesn't mean you're like old or like anything. Like literally, like I would totally move back down to PB right now if you want to do that. Like we don't need to be like the boring people that act like they already have kids. Like that doesn't have to be us. And like if that's how you're feeling, you know. So I don't know, that helped a lot. And I'm just being delusional, saying like, I'm not old. I'm still hot and fun and young. I just have a man. So
exactly. And I feel like it's like, this is the age where you start to step into those next phases of your life, and having like those markers, like getting engaged, getting married, having kids, like those all kind of progress you forward. So I totally get that. But no, you're doing great.
Thanks.
My serious Delulu moment actually really segues into our topic today. we're going to be talking about self-love, how to love yourself, our journeys with that, and just kind of like things that we've learned. I guess just, again, not to talk about dating so much, but it's just so prevalent for me right now. But with dating and seeing new people comes a lot of like vulnerability, and with that vulnerability, a lot of like insecurities in terms of just opening up to somebody new and sharing parts of yourself that are maybe scary to share with somebody new. And I don't know, I feel like when you're dating, you have those little awkward blips and moments that happen, like maybe you make a joke and it doesn't land with the other person, or, you know, you share a part of yourself and they're like, oh, okay. Or like they don't connect on that note, you know? Yeah. Or maybe you are staying over and your stomach gurgles at night and you're like, fuck, I hope I didn't hear that. Like just a lot of room for like insecurity and almost needing that validation of like, do they like me? Do they not like me? Especially when you're like really liking that other person. So I feel like I've just been really trying to reel it back and focus on that, because I've found myself getting lost and being worried about if the other person likes me or not. Mm-hmm. And I think I mentioned this last episode of just kind of having those moments of being like, no, you know what? I am so fun to date, and I love myself, and I love being by myself, and it's okay to be by myself, and kind of just how that progresses into your relationships, how you feel about yourself first and foremost in your relationship with yourself.
Yeah, it like doesn't go away. Once you're in the relationship, if anything, it's a big magnifying mirror.
Yeah.
So you working through that now is like gonna help you have an even more healthy relationship when you find that person. And you get to be with yourself the rest of your life. Like, I don't know. I just feel like if you cultivate that, that's the most important thing. And then the rest comes after.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I guess we'll just...
So let's jump in.
Do it. Do you want to go first?
Do you want to hit that light, by the way, because it's going to get dark.
This one?
The other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. It didn't start.
Totally fine.
I can get up and check and see what the camera's at.
You can just not pause it too, so it's easier to cut.
28 minutes.
Okay, cool. So we'll just crush this and we'll be good.
Okay.
So let's jump in. Let's start with you and your like self-love journey.
Yes. Okay. This is so vulnerable, but I love that we're talking about this, because this is what it's all about. And honestly, like this is to me like what the podcast is all about too, of like being delusional to create your best life and having that positive, I don't know, self-love and talk about yourself kind of starts with being delusional.
Right.
So, for me, I think a lot of like insecurity and negativity can come from various different sources throughout your life. And for a lot of people, I feel like it's like physical features, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. For me, I feel like it really stemmed from more of a personality thing for me. Like I have struggled with like my physical appearance from time to time. I think that's natural for a lot of people, but I think my main one growing up was more of a personality thing. And I think this can really stem, again, from just those defining moments growing up of maybe somebody points out something about yourself to you that, and then you're kind of retold that again and again, and then you just start to believe it about yourself. So for me, it was, you know, I think it's kind of multifaceted and can come from different things in my life, and I'm not 100% sure if it's nature versus nurture, but my parents divorced when I was 3, and I didn't really have any siblings my age growing up at the time, so I think there was a lot of talking, my parents talking for me and talking over me and kind of making decisions about where I would stay and who I would spend time with, and then that kind of just created my personality of being quiet and shy and non-confrontational, I would say. Yeah. And then going into like grade school and growing up and even up into high school, I was always told that I was quiet, shy, awkward, like family members, friends, like all these people would tell me this. And so I just really started to believe it. And I don't think I ever had a thought that I could be something different or that I was something different than that. So growing up, I had this belief that I was like really shy, really quiet, really awkward, which I was. I stayed quiet because that's what I learned how to do.
Yeah.
And it became a huge insecurity for me because I didn't like that part of myself, and I didn't like that everybody pointed it out and that everybody thought it was like this awkward thing that I was quiet. So
it's so brutal to be a child.
I know it really is. So I hated that, and I think I just, like everybody else, I had constant negative feedback going on in my head of like, you know, how I didn't like myself because of it. Mm-hmm. And I think insecure people in general do like the attention to not be on them because you don't want to have everybody looking at you and like pointing out the things that you're insecure about. So I think that also is just like this negative loop of like me staying quiet, mm-hmm. but also hating that I was so quiet, but also not wanting to speak up because then people would like draw attention to me speaking up. So it was just this big thing that I grew up with. And then, you know, I also went to a small school growing up. I went to like private schools from first grade until high school. So I had pretty much like the same group of kids that I went to school with that whole entire time. So I feel like I never even got to rebrand myself, you know, like most people do in high school.
Yeah.
So I was still really shy and quiet and awkward in high school as well. I obviously I did fine. I made it, but it just kind of continued. But then when I got to college, I did really have the opportunity to kind of open up more and rebrand myself and kind of be, and I think a lot of kids go through this, like you can kind of be whoever you want to be because you're in this new place or around a lot of new people. Mm-hmm. So it's like your time to shine. And I started to just kind of, I don't know, fall into these experiences of putting myself out there a little bit more and a little bit more, and started getting into like leading group things like within the sorority, and I got a job at Dutch Bros, which you have to be social to do.
Yeah.
So I kept just kind of pushing the boundaries. And then for me, that just kind of opened up a lot of like, okay, maybe I'm not as shy and awkward as I thought, you know? And I kind of continued to just push myself a little bit more and more. And then, I don't know, I would still at that time describe myself as quiet around new people, and I still describe myself that way. But after college, I think is when I really started to flip things around. And I feel like I really have TikTok to thank. Like I just kind of deep diving on TikTok. I feel like I've been on a great side of TikTok for a long time, but I don't know, just seeing videos about paying attention to the voice in your head all day long. Mm-hmm. And mine is constantly firing and going off. And so I literally just started to pay attention to this. And I don't know if you remember like my birthday last year when we went to Nashville and we like stayed up late and we're kind of talking about this. I was like, Brie, I spent the day listening to myself talk. And then she's really mean.
She's pretty evil to me, actually. I don't like her.
So I feel like it literally just took like a day, and then from there just like constantly noticing what I was saying to myself throughout the day. And I'm like, oh my God, like I am my own worst critic. Like I am so mean to myself, and I don't even know why or where that came from. But I feel like it's, you know, your brain and your neural pathways create these grooves almost. So if you imagine like a snow mountain and you go down the same path every time of that like negative thought, or that negative thought, and it creates this deep groove in your brain and this deep neural pathway. So that is where your brain connects to and goes to every time that you think something negatively about yourself, or you think about yourself, your brain automatically just goes to that negative pathway. Mm-hmm. So kind of just learning about this and then thinking about how you can rewire your brain almost, and think about now having like a fresh snowfall and trying to create new groove ways, or trying to get out of that negative groove way. It's going to take a second, but you can rewire your brain and like retrain yourself to think of the positive before you do the negative. I even remember I had this therapist in college once tell me, like, you know, because I don't know, she told me that, like, imagine if you're like flipping through a TV channel and you get to a channel that you don't like. Why don't you just change the channel to the positive one? Or like, why do you, if you have an outcome that you're worried about how it's going to go, why do you always expect the negative to happen? Like, if it's a 50-50 shot of it being negative or positive experience, why not just expect it to be positive and see where that takes you? And I feel like just little things like that I started to pay attention to that really changed things for me. So I feel like from there, it's just been a journey and it's taken time, but I feel like my self-talk is so positive now, and it's just crazy to make that complete switch because it was completely negative all the way through, and now it's completely positive. Not completely. I still have my thoughts. I still have my days, but just to make that switch, I feel like the way you feel about yourself on the inside reflects towards everything in your life on the outside. Yeah. So having those transitions of being more positive than negative really made like my relationships better, my work life better, like everything for me. I feel like even money, like it just kind of affects everything, the way that you feel about yourself. And at the end of the day, it is just you know, like why not make yourself feel like a safe space to come home to every single day? If it is just you, like you wake up with yourself, you go to bed with yourself, might as well make it a positive space to be in. And then everything else in your world will follow suit. I truly believe.
Well, and it's almost like the definition of insanity. Like if you think negatively all day, every day, and then expect a different thing to happen, like that's the definition of an insanity. Yeah. So why wouldn't you just think of it always positive? Yeah. And then if it goes negative, then deal with it then. Like the whole like daily stoic thing of like, don't borrow tomorrow's suffering. Don't suffer now before you have to. Like, why are you? Yeah. You don't have to. Like, create peace in your own life and like enjoy that. And when it becomes unpeaceful, you haven't like suffered prior. Yeah. You know, and I think you're better equipped to deal with difficulty when you've created such a safe space within yourself.
Right. And I think now reflecting back to my childhood, I just think like I picked up on these like little stories and opinions that people projected onto me that I was quiet or shy or awkward, but really I'm not. And now I meet people today and I tell them that I was this quiet, shy person, and they're like, really? Like I didn't get that from you at all. And I'm still blown away to this day when people say that to me, because that was just my whole thing. Like that was who I was. And now to have totally shifted that and to be, I don't know, comfortable and happy with who I am. And even I am still quiet around new people. And I almost love that part of myself, because when I'm in groups, I kind of just want to vibe it out and feel how things are before I get super comfortable with somebody. And I like that I'm that way, because I think some people are very outwardly and social and kind of open up to you right away. And some people just, they take a second to warm up. And I feel like it's so beautiful that we have that difference of humans, you know, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but just having that difference and loving and accepting that part of yourself has just been my personal journey with it, I would say.
Well, I love it. No, I think that's super impactful and like beautiful. And it ties into like a ton of what I was going to say. Are you okay?
Go for it.
I feel like everything kind of changed with my previous breakup. Like I think I came out of that just like realizing I wasn't doing anything that I loved. Like I was just kind of like, what do you want to do? Which is so not his fault. Like that was my fault. I was always like, what do you want to do? How are you going to be happy? Because if you're happy, I'm happy. It's like, okay, but like, are you though? Like you're not doing anything that you want to do. So like, I think I just had this like major moment of like, it washed over me. Like, I'm just going to do whatever I want when I want because I haven't in so long kind of thing. And then that kind of like reformed to more like not just waiting for that other person to tell me what they want, and to think about like, and pay attention to myself. I think that was kind of my way of escaping, like listening to what I wanted all the time. And like, I think it kept me outward, which made it so I could hide from whatever was the voice inside. And it's just become like a practice, really. Like you said, paying attention to that voice. And I think self-love also has like such a bad rap about being like selfish and egocentric, and I don't think it's that at all. Like personally, I feel like self-love is more like about self-discovery and self-discipline. There was this her name's Linda Carroll. She's a psychotherapist, and she said like loving yourself is holding yourself accountable to be the best you can be in your life. And narcissistic love has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So I just loved that it was put like that, because you caring and loving for yourself could even just mean like pushing yourself to go to the gym or trying something new, putting yourself out there when it might be uncomfortable, or you might not hear back from that person and you're like worried about the future outcome. Like that's self-love.
Yeah.
And I just feel like as we move forward in our culture, I think it's becoming more cool, I guess, to be like in the whole self-love thing.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that the way that you described your journey with it, because the way that I've found that helps for me is so what you've done. Like if you find that you're self-deprecating and that voice is being self-deprecating yourself, and you have this negative thought over and over again, the first thought is like, first of all, recognize and listen and understand, like, where did that voice come from?
Yeah.
I had this conversation with Stefan actually like not that long ago. There was an event I couldn't go to, and I was just distraught over it. Like I was like angry and then sad and like just like super intense emotions about this event. And I'm like, why do I care so much? Like obviously it would be fun, but also where I'm going will be fun. So like, what is the problem? And I just kind of like went more inward to think like, where did that happen in my life that like is now this is triggering it? Because it's clearly not about this. And I just remembered when I was younger, there was like a group of girls that I was friends with, or I thought I was friends with, and I found out that they had been like calling me like their duckling that like followed them around. And so that just like instilled this like, I don't know, I have to be invited to everything, and then like this like intense FOMO around it. And that has stuck with me since middle school. Like, I mean, so intense. If I miss out on anything, I'm like, oh my God, I just want to be there. Or if I feel like people didn't invite me, I don't want to invite myself. I don't want to insert myself anywhere, because I feel that like pain as a kid still. So that was interesting, and it helped. Obviously, I mean, our relationship becomes deeper just from the conversation that I'm having with him about that, instead of like lighting him up because I'm angry about something that's happened way back when. So I think, like you said, just listen to your voice all day. You'll like quickly realize how insane it sounds.
At first it's like a little scary.
You're like,
for me,
whoa.
I was like, whoa, this is not cool up in here.
This is not sounding so good. And so if you can like look back and pinpoint, maybe it was someone, even like a friend or a stranger, that said something about you, and you just like literally instilled it into your identity, because sometimes it's hard to even recognize. Like think deeply. And I think about it now, like just because I know the people that said these things to me in middle school, and I'm like, I would never trade places with that person. Like, be honest with yourself. Would you be the person that has created this and caused your happiness to not exist all day because you talk to yourself in this way?
Right.
Would you trade places with that person to have their life instead of yours?
Never.
Same with like having like a physical attribute that they have. Like, I remember I was listening to Emily Ratajkowski's Call Daddy episode, and she was like always, I mean, she like grew up really close to here and went to a high school right next to mine, and I just remember thinking like, oh, I kind of wish I looked like her, or like whatever, because I mean, I modeled too and stuff like that, and just like hearing the things that she went through just because of the way she looked, it was like, oh my God, like, you don't know what people are carrying around as a result of the one thing you're even jealous of. And even then, like maybe they have all these other things you would not trade. And so just why would you waste your like, I don't know, peace within yourself for something you wouldn't even take from them?
100%.
It doesn't make any, it's again, like kind of a definition of an insanity thing to me. So, and if you can't like pinpoint it and it just feels like fuzzy as to where that's coming from, I think the most important thing to do is to like take time for yourself and prioritize alone time. Like I like to go walk by the beach, even by myself, and not have anything I'm listening to. Like if you want to listen to a podcast, listen to Julie Lauer. But I feel like if you just are quiet and you kind of like see people around you and you notice like how the world is working around you, you get out, step outside yourself.
Yeah.
When you step back in, it almost like clears everything up, I think. And the more time you spend alone, the easier it is to start listening and understanding like, oh, that's weird. Like that's happening a lot. And I guess maybe that was informing why I did that. And then it's just like this huge spiral of like, oh, like that's why I was thinking this. That's why I reacted this way.
Yeah.
And like we've been saying, it's the most important thing to get clear on getting peaceful with yourself and finding joy within yourself, because you're the only person you have at the end of the day. As morbid as it sounds, like even the person you're so deeply in love with might be gone one day, and who are you left with? Yourself, right? And like you even see it with parents when like they make their whole life is about their kids, and then their kids leave, and then they turn to their partner, they don't even know them anymore, and they don't even know themselves anymore. Like, what do I like to do? I don't know. Right. And I can imagine how hard it is to be a parent and not get lost in that. But if you don't keep that space, you're going to like wake up one day with not the things that you're filling it with, and you're not going to know what to do. Yeah. So I think just having like grace for yourself and understanding that it's not an easy process, and I think comparison math doesn't math. Yeah. So like, I don't know. That's just how I feel about 100%.
it. 100%. I was just going to add that I feel like when you are in that space of being insecure and negative about yourself, that you seek outwardly for like validation, and that can take many forms, and I've definitely been there and seeking that through like a new outfit, a new hairstyle, partners that I've dated. And it's funny because most of the time when I think about like my love languages, I love words of affirmation. Yes. And I'm like, I think it's because I love
you're like, ooh, should I change that?
Yeah, I think it's because I love that validation piece. So yeah, I honestly do want to change that. So
yeah, but you're allowed to have all of them. I feel like it's fair to a point, and it's good that you recognize it. Like that means that when you're noticing it, you're not gonna like come at this other person. You're gonna like think, okay, like maybe I'm just being this way because of this. And I think that's a healthy way to come forward to something in like a relationship, or even just by yourself. Like being cognizant of that, I think will help you be happier more often, because you're not sitting there like, I wish he would do this. You're like, I'm good with myself. Like it's all good if he doesn't do that. Like I'm good. You know, I think it just impacts it positively. The other thing, I've been reading this book called Real Love, and it's a lot about like meditations, and they're called like loving kindness meditations. So if even like being alone doesn't work, or like listening to your voice is terrifying, like this was something that actually helped me with some things that like I felt like were hard to deal with, even being alone and trying to be more positive. It just wasn't changing anything. And I started doing this and I was like, oh my God, this actually kind of works. So I'll just read it. So one of them is more about the cultivating peace within yourself thing. So it's just a repetition, and you can do it where you say like the first sentence for like a minute, and then you can say the next one for a minute, and you can use any of these. You don't have to use all of them, but may I live with ease, and just like over and over again saying may I live with ease, and just like listening to that. You can be like walking meditation or just regular meditation. May I feel happy, and just say that over and over again. May I feel safe, may I feel healthy, may I feel peaceful. And I feel like it's amazing, right? But the thing that I was shocked by when I did that was that, and I think this is the point, it's like manifestation. If you're saying I am this, and you're not, then you kind of recognize like, oh, why am I not? And then you can allow yourself to go through that. I just think it opens doors. If nothing else, it's just kind to yourself for a couple minutes a day when you're not the rest of the day.
And I feel like repeating something like that over and over again for a minute or however long, it does start to make you really, I don't know, sink inwards and feel it. And like you said, if you have lack thereof, then kind of just like, you'll probably get emotional and thinking about why is there lack thereof that, and creating space for it to come in, like you just said.
Exactly, giving yourself permission. And the other one, because I definitely have struggled with like the physical attribute stuff for sure. And this one kind of helped me with that. And it's about you can go from your head to your toes, or you can do just the part of your body that you maybe would want to change. And it's just saying, like, so you can say, like, may my head be happy.
Oh, I love that.
And then it says, may it be peaceful. Like, may my eyes be happy.
It's gonna make me emotional. Like, that is so sweet.
Isn't it sweet?
Yeah.
And so I've been, like, kind of insecure about my chest, like, since I was really young. So I would, like, kind of say, like, may my chest be happy, like, may it be peaceful. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, like, yeah, like, what am I even doing, sitting there, like, self-deprecating myself about something I can't even change?
No, exactly. Like, that's what it is. Like, at the end of the day, like, majority of the things you're insecure about, you can't really change about yourself. Like, you are who you are. This is the body that you were given, so might as well just rock the fuck out of it.
Exactly. You know? May it be happy, dude. I don't know.
And I feel like there is so much beauty, again, in what I was saying, in the difference of humans, like, in different body types. Like, there is so much beauty in, like, different body types, and everybody has their own cup of tea of what they like and what they don't like. And I hate that this was even a thing for me, but I have never really cared for my feet that much. Like, I just don't think they're cute. Which, yeah, they're like, so what the fuck? Yeah, they're, like, fine. They're just feet. At the end of the day, they're just feet.
Okay. And so you have to tell it to be happy.
Yeah, I want some happy feet. So anyways, I've never really liked my feet, and one of my second toes is, like, a tiny bit, like, longer than my big toes. I think that's why I have an insecurity about it. But I've never liked them. And then my ex actually was, like, the first person to tell me that he loved my feet. And
there you go.
Then from that, I started loving my feet, just because, again, I got that validation from him. But I hate that that was even a thing, that I had to seek validation from somebody. But it also just taught me that, you know, you can be somebody's cup of tea, or you cannot be their cup of tea. Like, at the end of the day, it does not matter what other people think of you from a physical standpoint. All it matters is that you feel comfortable and confident with the way you are, because, again, this is the only body you have. Like, there's nothing I can do to change my feet, and so I'm like, I'm just gonna love them, because why would I hate them for the rest of my life?
Be negative about it forever, right? Like, I saw this quote today, and it was like, I didn't come here to not love my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, literally, why? I didn't come here to just sit and think about how I don't like my feet. Like, seriously, or, like, I don't like my chest, or I don't, whatever it is, or I don't like that I don't do this enough. It's like,
why waste your thoughts
why are you
and
wasting that time on that? I mean, like, you get one life. So.
Right.
Live it, baby.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's self-love, baby.
That is some damn self-love. I love that. Let me see if there was anything else I was gonna add. Oh, one thing I did also want to mention. This was, like, I don't know, a cute video that I saw not too long ago, and I feel like insecurity is something that you can deal with your entire life. And I was chatting with my mom about this, because she was recently feeling insecure, like, about her weight or whatever, and I saw this video, so I was, like, telling her about it. And when you think about the way that your friends describe you to other people, so if somebody came up to me and was like, what's Brie like, I see her on your podcast, what's she like? Like, I'm not going to open up by saying, like, oh, you know, she's that tall blonde girl. Like, I'm going to immediately start with things about your character and be like, Brie is this, like, inspiring, intellectual person, like, and start there. Like, that's how you describe your friends. So I think keeping that in mind as well, like, if we're talking about the appearance part of just, like, nobody at the end of the day, like, looks just don't matter at the end of the day. It's just, it doesn't matter. It's about who you are as a person and how you make other people feel. That's the impact that they're going to remember.
Yeah. And off of that, like, would you allow your friend to talk about themselves that way? If they were talking out loud, would you even, like, what would you say to your younger self talking to you, saying those negative things about themselves?
Yeah.
Like,
I'd slap her across the face.
Be like, shut the hell up. You look hot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well,
we
that's
self-love.
So hopefully that can just help to make you start to think about maybe the way that you talk to yourself or think about yourself, and kind of open up a door for you like it has for us.
Yeah, we just want to share that experience we've had, and just share a little Delulu moments, and hopefully you have some Delulu moments to share with us.
Yeah, yes, please.
Please write in.
DM us is probably the easiest. Ask.deluluhour. I think is our Instagram. We always forget.
It's just askdeluluhour@gmail.com.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Please DM us if there's anything you want to say. But yeah, we would love to hear your Delulu moments.
Yes.
Even if it's specific towards how you told yourself you loved yourself this week.
Yeah.
We would love to hear that.
Yeah, we would love to hear your stories about self-love too. So
yeah.
Share it with us. Thank you so much for listening.
We love you.
We love you guys.
We'll see you later.